All right, there we go. Now I can talk. AM is the name of my agency. It's a creative agency. My name is Aaron McClung. I've been doing this creative agency world for about 21 years. It's the only thing I've ever done, so yay for me. This is the kind of stuff that we do, right? This is what kind of stuff you probably think about when you think of a creative agency, like branding and marketing and websites and make you look good, those kind of things, right? And that's kind of the approach that we had for about 19 of those years, okay? And so a couple years ago, I started getting introduced to the things that you just heard, and I'm like, okay, I got to do something different because I can't just keep doing this and thinking that I'm going to get an environment where people actually care about it and want to be there. And so we've always done a great job. We do good work for big companies, small companies, all sizes, whatever, but I need to get my people motivated to want to be there and want to show up and do it every day. And so I'm going to tell you how we did that. And I'm going to tell you a little bit how we did it for SBT. Sound good? All right. Wrong way. I'm going to get this down. Okay, so if you remember any phrase from me today is change the conversation, because that's what I had to do, and that's what I'm going to try to convince you to do. It's to create meaning and purpose in your employees and your company and extend it to your customers and your clients. You have to change your conversation. Okay, so that's what I had to do at first, so I've been there, all right? The conversation has to start with the things that we were just talking about, that we're all searching for meaning. That's how we're wired, okay? And that translates to how people make decisions to join your company, to buy your product, to buy and buy in. It's always true. They're always seeking to fulfill this need. And it's to the degree that you engage with them in that conversation is to the degree that you get to control that conversation, okay? Meaning, to me, my definition, if you want to write one down, meaning and purpose basically comes through fulfilling that and transforming other people. Okay, so science comes at it, secular leadership, faith-based leadership, all come back to the same formula, that if you want to feel meaningful and feel fulfilled, you're going to have to transform other people. That's my definition. That's not just mine, but that's the one we're going to go with for today. A lot of people try to fulfill it by, going after the things that they want, right? And so just take it from me. It's going to end up with, you're still going to feel empty on the inside when you do it. That's like Brian was talking about, you can push and win for a short season, but it's not going to last. So this is the formula that we're going after. That's what employee engagement is really about. And getting that in your marketing is what I'm going to talk about. That's more my sweet spot, right? So how do we get there? Well, good question. Some of you are like, that's fuzzy. I don't really want to do that. Not really. It sounds good. Sounds like maybe it's a completely different type of approach that you've ever had, and maybe it's just kind of this fuzzy, soft thing that's a bunch of BS. Maybe that's up to you. But I'm the most logical, emotionless person in this room. I guarantee it. And I still came to this conclusion because I can't deny the science of it. Okay? So let's look at some science to maybe back that up a little bit. So is it meaningful? Yes. Is it profitable? That's really what some of you finance people are thinking too. So you should be. All right, so let's look at some stats. Let's see if I can get out of the way. All right, so 63% of consumers would rather buy from companies they consider authentic. So they care about what you do, sure, but they care about why you're doing it. They want to know that if we come up with this really great why story, that it's authentic, that it's really meaningful, because your employees will see right through it, and they'll think, oh, you're just doing some marketing thing, and they won't be engaged, right? And then your customers, they really want to know. And so, okay, has this changed in the last generation, do you think? Do you think the millennial generation cares more about this than the one before that and the one before that, right? Yeah, of course it is. So times are changing. Employees are 3 times as likely to stay at purpose-driven companies. Who likes the high cost of turnover? Who's doing anything about it? Okay, that's Brian's. See that guy right there, bald head. Hire him. All right, so it's important that we do something about it. It's also important to talk about it, but what can we actually do? Those are questions we should be asking. Brian showed you this one as well. I'm going to show it to you again. Purpose-driven companies return 1,681% in revenue. Firms of endearment, Brian talks about the book too. I think it's a really, really boring book, but read the stat, okay? You can't ignore it. It's a lot of stats, a lot of stuff like that, so I just saved you hours of reading. There you go. All right, so last stat. So 81% of people like you, business leaders, 81%, so most of you believe that everything I'm saying is not completely crazy. Okay? Yet only 37% have actually done anything with it. So most people believe that purpose-led firms deliver better quality services and products. Cool. But 37% are the people that actually feel like they've done something about it. So if you're looking for that magic bullet, that next thing, that's an opportunity to me. So either you're going to figure it out or your competitors will figure it out. You decide. But it's an opportunity. So meaningful and profitable, it can be the same thing. It can achieve both things, and you'll have that long-term loyalty that we're looking for. All right, so how does that work? Why does it even work? Simon Sinek, a lot of you probably heard of him. He came out with a book called Start With Why. A lot of these principles are in there, but we're going to look at them a little bit closer and see what to do with it. And so what he said was that you got to start with why. So if you want to get people bought into an idea into your organization, then you have to kind of buy into it first, right? You have to uncover what's in you as a leader, as an employee. You got to know what's in there. Remember, Brian was talking about the personality profiles. Some of that's all part of that. Got to start with you. We'll look at that in a second. Your why is a purpose, cause, or belief that inspires you to do what you do. Only 37% of people have really had this conversation, what the stat said before that, right? There's more stats that only 10% of people actually know what they think their life purpose is. So, sounds good, but very few people actually know what to do with this. What does Simon say? He said, let me back up. See, Simon starts with a story about this guy's right here. Does anybody know who that is? Hint right there. Wright brothers, right? He talks about them, and he talks about how they went through the process of figuring out flight. And so they were up against somebody that most of us don't know that they had competition. This guy. Anybody heard of Langley? Langley Air Force Base, right? He was the guy that was supposed to figure it out. He had all the money. The government was funding him. He had all the smartest people. The government paying all this, all the funding, all the notoriety. He was known. The Air Force Base is named after him, right? It's a well-established guy. He was supposed to figure it out. There you go. Best mind, sufficient funding, excellent market conditions, and he was focused mainly on being first. These guys over here, what did they have going for them? They didn't have this clicker. I'm going to walk it over to you. Okay, there we go. Sorry. So what did they have going for them? No notoriety, no funding. They were the right people, right? Because they actually accomplished it, and they were focused on the promise of flight. So they cared about the why more than they cared about their limitations, right? These were bicycle shop owners. So put them up against government-funded Samuel over here. But they still had enough passion and purpose and drive to figure it out because they showed up every day with the desire to change the world because that's what they thought they were doing. Okay, and they won. And he gave up. Samuel gave up as soon as they figured it out. They kept going, kept refining, kept trying to figure it out, so that when half of you guys flew here, it's because these guys. Something to that. What about these guys? No notoriety. No funding. You had to pay the guy off to get the T1 line, right? It wasn't the government lining up at your door to help you. But you had a vision, right? And you did it. 25 years of hard work, right? How many businesses make it 10 years? Most don't, right? 96% of them do not make it that far. And here we are 25 years later. And you guys are, again, an illustration of that. What did they care about? Did they care about being the technology giant in the world of texting? No. That was just a demonstration of something deeper that they cared about. The relationships, right? How many texting platforms are having this kind of conversation with you? There's something deeper driving these guys. All right, let's go back to Simon Sinek's formula. So here's for the nerdy types in the room, this is you. This is all for you, baby. Okay. Simon Sinek's golden circle, he starts with, we say companies that start the conversation with why they do the things they do, and then talk about how and what are successful. So let's figure out why that is. So let's just define our terms. What, we're talking about what you do, right? Everybody knows what you do. It's the products or services that you sell or offer. How? Some organizations know how. That's like your flavoring of what you do. We're cheaper, faster, stronger, better. All those kind of adverbs kick in, right? Some of your values start to kick in and under your how. But very few know why they do what they do. So it's the result. It's a purpose, cause, or belief. It's the reason your organization exists every day. But, okay, here's the nerdy part. This is all how your brain works, okay? Your brain has a system called the limbic system, which is in the center of your brain. It's where emotions and gut feelings are. It's where decisions are made. But guess what? No words are processed here. No words. But decisions are made there without words. We keep building on that. Other part of your brain called the neocortex. It's the outer part. It relates to how, or to what's and details. Facts, data, details, words are processed there. Logic and rationalization are there. So every time we try to talk about what we do and we don't talk about why we do it, we're not entering the decision-making part of the brain. Think about that. All decisions are emotion-based and logic-supported. So your decision to come here, to work for the company you work for, all started in this part of your brain. And it probably happened in seconds. Okay? And then the rest of your brain is where the decision was rationalized and justified. Okay? This is how people buy things. This is how employees decide to join your company. All right here. How many of you, okay, let's do a little gut check. So we had the vendors, sponsors tell their stories a few minutes ago, right? They had 1 minute. What did you hear about? This or this? Busted. It was all about what? It's all right here. We do this software, we make this thing. Like, cool, I guess maybe one day I'll need that. But what really would have been powerful is you tell me why you do it. I would have remembered that. Right? I'm not going to make any friends after this, probably. Just here to inspire you. Okay, so think about when your people call prospect or whatever calls you, makes a sales call in, and you're in charge of that, handling that process. If your company only talks about because that's what they come talking about, right? What do you want to? What do you do? What's the price? What's it cost? What's the color? What's the flavor? Whatever it is. That's what they want to know because they've already been here without you, right? I'm trying to get people to tell stories about their brands and take them back here, and then let's walk them back through that, okay? Because that's how the decisions are made. I don't like it, but that's what the science says. I wish it was just like, okay, point A, point B, point C, done. Do you want to buy it? Just not how they make the decisions. I can't change that. All right, let's see if you learned anything. Look at this ad for a second. Taco Bell. Is this a why or a what? Why or a what? What? All right, good. That was easy, right? Cheap food, $1. Eat. Try this one. Why or a what? There we go. It's a why. I feel it. Okay, it's not just a burrito. Okay, what is it then? It's foil-wrapped, handcrafted, local farm supporting, food culture changing cylinder of deliciousness. Learn more about food with integrity. Already having a different conversation here. Some people are all about this. Brian would have jumped all over this with his tomatoes, right? So how much is a burrito at Chipotle? Nobody knows and nobody cares. All right? You don't know. Get the guac at 75 cents. Could we make this meaningful? Sure we could. It's just a matter of what story you're telling, right? There are people that their life and it's being made better because this product is available at this time of night for this price, because that's what their life needs at that point, right? I could tell a meaningful story, but they're choosing not to. They're winning. One of the fastest growing food franchises. Got to change the conversation. They're doing it, right?